Hi, happy Tuesday. If you know, I typically go live on Wednesday nights at 7. But this week I have 5 fun fold cards that I want to share with you. And excuse my voice, I am definitely either reacting to pollen or trying to not get a true cold. Um, so I'm here in the middle of the day before I go out of town to watch my daughter's playoff game in just a little bit. And I wanted to go ahead and share with you the card I was going to share last night, but I was out when I got home from work. So if you're catching me on the replay, let me know. I should probably tell you who I am if you haven't seen me before. I'm Nicole with Equally Creative Living, or Equally Creative by Nicole. And I am sharing 5 fun fold cards this week that feature the new 24 to 26 in colors. So let me switch my camera. This first one features the new Pretty in Pink and the brand new Country Flowers stamp set that will be available May 1st. It also features the Country Lace DSP, and you're going to get a tiny sampling of the Country Lace DSP with this card. So let's go ahead. This is a fun fold card. It's actually called a gatefold easel card, and I did it a little bit differently. You can dress these up as much as you would like. I kept it pretty simple to show off the paper backgrounds. So this is one of the papers. I'll pull it a little closer. You can see some of that detail. And then it opens up and we have another paper sample on the inside here, which is the new basic beige color. And then I've got a piece of the DSP here. And of course it stands up so that your recipient can look at this beautiful pot of flowers all day. So let me show you how we do this. So we start with a full sheet of cardstock, and we're going to score this at 5.5. Remember, you want the light for a light score. The dark is for a deep cut, so we're not going to do the dark blade. We're using the light one. So we're going to score the whole paper at 5.5. Then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 2.5 inches in from each edge. Okay, so I've got that side. Then I'll turn this over and I'll do that 2.5 inches from this side. Now, I think this design was meant to be a little bit different than what it is. I kind of made it my own and did what I needed to make it work for me. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to trim away 2 of these corners, and you're going to save at least one of them because you're going to want it. And I am moving that scoring blade out of the way, and now I do have my cutting blade in place. So I'm going to make a deep cut up to the 5.5 inch score line that we did just a moment ago. And I have a notch on the edge here that I'm going to line up with that mark. Okay. And then I'm going to use my paper snips, and I am simply going to cut away at this bottom piece. I'm going to make the teeniest little notched edge here, kind of similar to if we were creating a box. Just pull right off, so that when I go and fold this in, my flat will fold down nice and neat. So now I'm going to go ahead and line this back up so I can cut the other side. Again, I'm lining up the notches in the blade there with my score lines. And again, the tiniest, so I just come over just a sliver and then cut kind of this triangle towards the center here. And I'll pull that away. And this is our card base for this fun fold. So I have two sides that will fold in. I can pull this down, and I overlapped mine in the middle. I actually must have done this wrong because this one is a bit wider. So I wrote my measurements down wrong. That's what happens. And then you go live and you look like a goofball. All right, so we're just going to work with it because this folds over. It's still going to hide our message. This is going to be fine. We are going to score this edge right here at the 2.5 mark because that is going to be our propped up easel part. So we will fold this over. Again, it's just going to not be quite as wide because I goofed. But we'll make this happen. I think I'm still going to need to cut some pieces. So in your kit, you're going to have a leftover piece here. You're going to have a piece for the top front. You will have a piece that's going to match this larger size. And then you will have 3 pieces of DSP that you can flip, pick, and choose whichever parts you want. And because I have all of this pre-cut, I'm going to grab this and put it aside. And I'm going to save these parts for later so that I can reuse that. But I'm going to grab a new piece of Pretty in Pink, which means I'm opening a pack. Because I really don't like that the first fun fold had a mistake right at the get-go. So I'm gonna show you how to do that again. All right. So again, I am doing this at 5.5 across the center. And I think it's supposed to be 2 1/8. So let me just quickly measure that and make sure that I do the right thing this time. Yes, 2 1/8. I should have gone with my gut. All right, so we will do 2 1/8. And if you are measuring on one of our trimmers, we have a lot of these little hash marks, or what I'll call them. And so we have like the 16ths are the shorter ones, and then the 8ths are a little bit longer. And then it'll be a 16th, and then the quarter mark is just a tiny bit longer. So it's this mid-range hash mark that you want to score on. And we're doing that on both sides, so just flip that over. And then again, we will trim off these outer corners, and let's see if I did that correctly. It does appear that time I did it correctly. So again, I'm going to go ahead and trim up to that score line. And we're going to do that for both of those bottom outer rectangles. And then I'll grab my snips, and again, I'm going to cut that little wedge out just so that it folds in nicely. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to use some different colors just so you can see what that might look like. So I'm going to simply use some reverse sides. I really like this one to go behind here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together because we're going to have that together in a moment. And then I'm simply going to be trimming both of these in half. And I think I'll use these two sides. You can see that. These are the sides I used on the first one. These are simply 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to cut them down to 2 by 5 1/4, and that way they will line up on the insides and the outsides of our flaps. Okay, so I can move this out of the way now. So let's go ahead and put this together. We're going to do the stamping part last because there is a tiny bit of coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and use whatever glue is closest to my hands when I go live, because, you know, it's just all thrown up all over here. So if you do that too, I'd love to know. Sometimes I'll misplace something while I'm in the middle of using it, and then I have to go and pull out a glue bottle or whatever else is handy right nearby. So I'm centering this towards the bottom just so I have that little flap at the top. Leaving the tiniest little sliver of Pretty in Pink all the way around those edges. Okay. I'm going to add a white piece on the inside that I forgot to pull out. So go ahead and do that, and then you can run out in the middle of your live and switch over to glue, because it is again within arm's reach, and then I can kind of slide this with glue and get it positioned in the center. Okay. Also move that out of the way and get a new one in a second. All right. So we have that. So let's go ahead. We're going to flip this over. So we're going to add our wings. Hi, Mercy. Thanks for watching. This is not my normal time to go live, but I took the day off to watch my daughter play. I ended up battling whatever the sinus crud is and slept half the day away. And so now I'm trying to share this fun fold. Before I head out to softball. All right, so again, we are just centering these so that we can see that Pretty in Pink all the way around. Okay, so that is this piece right here. And if you're not careful, you'll scoot it over while you're moving things around. Okay. So I did forget to score this real quick. So I am doing 2.5 inches from the bottom. I'm using that light colored blade because I just want to score it. I don't want to cut it. That's going to be important in a little bit because that is that piece, the easel base. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the front of this card together. So the simplest thing is going to get our first piece of DSP, which is our little background. And I have used, this is I think it's basic gray or gray granite, one of the two on here. And I'm just going to slide it into place. It does have just a sliver around it. So the DSP is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I've got 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 for that background piece. Okay, this is simply that piece that we took off, and I just look and see which piece looks the best. I'm going to adhere that to the left-hand side of this card. And I'm centering it top to bottom and pulled it in just a little from the outside edge. And now we get to do the stamping. Okay. So this brand new kit, set of stamps, is called Country Flowers, and it has with Heartfelt Sympathy, Best Friend Ever, Flower Market, Sending Love, So Lucky to Know You. We've got a teapot to hold flowers. We've got a bucket to hold flowers, a little stool to put these on. So that is what we're about to use. Thank you, Mercy. All right, so we do have dies that go with these. I decided to go with the super easy method for this live. since the hard part was the fun fold and getting that correct. So let's just have fun with some stamps and ink for the rest of this card. So I did grab out Pebbled Path. You can use Memento ink for this because I'm going to use the blends. I just happen to love this lighter. It's not quite black, so I chose to use the Pebbled Path for that. All right, so I stamped my jug directly on top of the tabletop. And when I colored it at the bottom, it took care of the see-through component that you'll see in just a second. So here's the bucket. I did want it to sit directly in, the center of this table. I didn't want it to look like it was floating, and I didn't want to have to mask because that starts to become a little more involved. And like I said, the feature was the fun fold. So I want you to be able to do this. Use any stamps you have at home. Wait until you have purchased new stamps if you want to. Make sure you save this video so that you'll have it later. Okay, there. All right, so I basically, let's stamp the flowers really quickly before I get too far into this because I'm going to get distracted on myself here. All right, so we put our bucket up there. Now what I did was I lined up the flowers so that they kind of hang over the edge. There is a nice separation at the top, so I'm going to be able to plug this in here and not have any issues with where it lines up. So I just turned it and pulled it down so that I can see through the stamp. And there you can look how nicely it just nestles right in there and doesn't overlap or anything like that. So I really love how these stamps did that because it made it super easy to look gorgeous without having to do a lot of fun techniques to get it right. So I simply used my dark Pebbled Path and I used the bullet tip and I simply colored in the very bottom edge of my bucket with that dark color, and that just kind of gives it a little bit of an accent. You could color this in with the black marker, but again, I chose to use the same color that I used in ink so that it all blended together. And then the little bolt here. All right. So that is that part. And then I used the light gray from the Smoky Slate, and I colored in the rest of this bucket in that silvery rustic kind of look here. This kind of goes along with any farmhouse decor that you might have. You could make little pictures for the wall. It does not have to be a card. So I'm just coloring this in so that it'll have this nice light gray color with that dark accent. Okay. Then I used our in colors to color the flowers and the stool. So let's show what those are one more time. If you are not aware just quite yet, we have 5 in colors that come out new every year. And these are the blends. We have a light and a dark alcohol-based marker. And I did purchase all of the current in colors to get going with the new catalog. So I have Shy Shamrock. This is the Petunia Pop. Here's our Pretty in Pink that we are using for the paper today. This is Peach Pie. And then we have Summer Splash. So those are the 5 brand new colors. All right, so I'm gonna, since I'm doing things a tiny bit different, I'm gonna switch up my colors, and I'm actually going to use the Summer Splash for the table, and I'm gonna use the light to color the whole table, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of dark shadowing where this bucket sits on the table. I am using the thicker side to color this, but I'm about to switch over to the bullet tip because it gives me a little bit more control. I might not color out too much if I switch. All right. If you enjoy coloring, these are fun markers to color with. And I know there are demonstrators out there who even do like coloring classes. So that can be a lot of fun. All right, so here I'm going to add just a little dark shadowing over here from where this is sitting. And then I'm going to add a little dark shadowing to the legs in the back here. Okay. And then I'm just going to keep coloring these flowers. I'm going to do just a couple of them. I really love the Petunia Pop. I'm not a huge purple fan, but this is almost like a raspberry purple, so I love it so much. And you could get real fancy and frilly with these flowers. You could use watercolor pencils, give them some light and dark shading. You could make these little inside pieces a different color. But you can see there's definitely a nice variety of option in here. And again, these are simply just our in colors. I did not add in any of our regular colors, but that would definitely be a great addition to this. All right, I think the rest is going to be green, and I did use the Shy Shamrock to color the base last time, but now I'm going to use it to color the leaves. I did pull in one other color last time. I pulled in our lemon lime twist for the leaves before, but I wanted to keep it to these 5 colors as much as possible. So if you are a new demo or a demo who doesn't just buy everything all at once and you just wanted to start with the in colors, all the paper and card bases and envelopes would come to you in your kit. You would just need your in color markers and stamps and whatever inks as well. So let me cover this up. Okay, and let me share. The last finishing component to this card is going to be adding this here. So I did put glue on the whole thing. This glue goes a long way. You don't have to push very hard for it to kind of ooze out. So, so watch out for that. And then I just centered this so that I had that framing of Pretty in Pink. And that glue will jump this little seam line below there, and that'll be fine. And then we're going to take this piece And we're going to add dimensionals to the bottom here. And I've got some dimensional pieces and parts that I'm going to cut up and use because I don't waste any part of this fun dimensional adhesive that we have. So cut up those edges, don't ever throw them away. And then I just did a little 5. We'll pull this off. And then you are going to center this left and right, top and bottom. It's just going to leave a tiny sliver. So remember, we added an extra layer with that gray background. Can close that up. And that folds down like this. And then when you open it up, we're going to stamp our sentiment on a cute little strip of basic white. And let's see. And I did best friend ever, but for this one, I'm going to choose sending love. And of course, I stuck my ink away because I like to get ahead of myself. Okay. So sending love, and I am centering this on this little strip here. And then I'm just going to put adhesive on the back with the dimensionals. Sorry for the noise. And I simply put this up just a little bit from the bottom here. You can see that. And then this just folds over like that. And then the last little itty bitty thing that I'm going to do is add some rhinestones. And these are actually our In Color Shimmer Gems. In Color Shimmer Gems. And I chose to do my Pretty in Pink. All of the ones this week are going to feature the in color that the card base is, or the featured in color. That'll be the color of the gem that will go on there. So there is our finished card. So again, this is what it looks like. It'll open up and then sit just like that. And that's it. So normally I do 4 projects on a Wednesday night. This week I am doing 5 projects to coordinate with our new in colors. So if you are purchasing, or you want to just get a kit of all 5 Fun Fold materials, the information is in the description, and I hope you come back and see the rest of the cards for this week. I'll see you guys later. Bye.